Hey everybody, Tony Johnson here, Customer Experience Leader. Welcome to Live at 5:30. Today we got a few things that we want to discuss around the great service comeback, as they say. And I've been watching a lot of the media pieces around the phased comeback, and also listening to some pieces from the United States Chamber of Commerce when it comes to, really what it means to phase in. And so I think that is one of the things that I think we all have to contemplate the most, is that a phased approach is frankly going to be the best way to go. So, I think we also, while we're thinking about that phased in approach, we also have to think about what it's going to mean to maintain some of the standards that we've set. So, for example, today I was actually running around and social distancing, trying to do a good job, but I was at a retail environment, and it's a store I've been to a few times. And when I've gone in recently, this store has had associates out front, sanitizing carts and trolleys and things. And then as you go inside, they've had a place where the carts were waiting for you and ready to go. But today when I walked in, they actually had nobody out front doing the sanitizing. They had a big sign that said sanitized carts here and here with 2 arrows, but there were no carts. And so that was one of those things where I thought, gosh, are we already starting to scale back? Are we already starting to think about, not doing some of the things that we've been doing, or are we not putting the pressure and the priority on some of these items that we had already? So we've got to hang on to some of these things that have become so very important to our customers. So please keep an eye on those items. And again, maybe this place was just having a bad day. Maybe this place just didn't have enough people on this given day. But we've got to make sure that we keep this going. And that is actually one of the things I noticed on the United States, plan forward from the White House around the phased approach was, phase one was making sure that as employees come back to work, as teams come back to work, that we not only have a safe environment for customers, but that there's also a safe environment for the employees and team members coming back as well. So whether that's operating at 50% capacity, whether that's regular cleaning schedules, whether that's keeping non-essential travel down and continuing to work virtually when appropriate, all of those things may factor into play. So just remember, first and foremost, keep doing all the amazing things that you've been doing. And second, as we think about phased approach, remember that that's not just customers, and not just consumers, not just your guests, but also those that work with you. Now, I was talking to, like I've told you before, I've got a number of fantastic HR executives that I talk to a lot, because I have to tell you, keeping your finger on the pulse of what's big in the industry is a great way to keep up on what's next. And we were talking about selection, and I know I mentioned this last week as well, but you're going to need team members, and maybe some have gone on to other opportunities. Maybe some are getting ready to come back. Maybe you've taken this opportunity to thin the herd a little bit and bring in some new talent, or get rid of some talent that wasn't working out. But you're also going to have to think about how you retool and how you bring people in. And that brings us to today's major topic, transferable skills. Now, I tell you, I'd spent a lifetime selecting talent, interviewing folks, finding ways to get right people, right role. But this day and age right now, we are going to have a lot of people who are going to be looking for opportunities with jobs. But you know what? This is a fantastic place. And we've talked about aptitude and skill and attitude previously. What a great chance to really take that out for a test drive. Think about all the folks who may be looking for work from, say, the restaurant industry, or say some of the retail environments. And maybe what you do isn't exactly restaurants, maybe it isn't exactly retail, but you know what? People skills are people skills. Being nice is being nice. Problem solving and lifelong learning, those are skills we can all look for. So don't necessarily think that just because a manager or leader candidate or a frontline associate candidate has never worked in your particular field, don't rule them out of hand. Think about what that could mean really for your organization if you tapped into the potential of everybody who's looking for work and only kept in mind, does this person bring a tremendous attitude? Does this person bring empathy? Did this person just have one of those positive attitudes you cannot help but fall in love with? Don't worry about what they did previously. If they're a tremendous candidate, they're a tremendous candidate. So take a moment to really think about that when you're out there in the world doing selection. The other thing is to think about, as you come back and open back up, this was something actually as I was reading through on the U.S. Chamber site and also the White House Path Forward site, the plan to reopen America. When we think about what your business is going to look like, it may be one of those times, and I actually was watching a webinar today where it was talking about Childcare and some of the childcare pieces, and not for nothing, be considering the fact that childcare has taken a huge wallop out there. So as you are thinking about opening back up, the team that you want to bring in to serve your customers may well need to rethink their whole childcare scenario. So it may take some flexibility on your side if you can get it. I know that most places don't offer childcare on site, but just be cognizant of the fact that you may well have folks who are out there looking for childcare and maybe struggling a little bit with it. So, I think just as we look to be great employers, as we look to be great leaders, it's always important to understand what someone might be going through. But understand too that your business, you may be working at 30, 40, 50% capacity when it comes to how many people are allowed inside of your business. So, if you're a restaurant and your big fire marshal placard says, the max occupancy is, let's say, 100 people. Well, you may actually be operating at 40 or 50 people as your max occupancy, in the beginning of the startup. So just know that that's something you're going to have to figure out, and that could be your pricing structure, that could be your service structure, that could be how long it takes you to turn customers in and out of your business regardless of what you do. So that's a real thing that you need to consider. The other thing is, will you do temperature checks for guests, for customers, for your team members as they come in? These are all things that are currently being suggested on both the CDC and on some of the government websites on this kind of path forward piece. So keep considering that. And then finally, PPE. Now, growing up in the restaurant business like I did, PPE for me was always, things like, cutting gloves for knives and hot pads and things like that. Up until, 6 weeks ago or so, I'm not sure most folks understood what PPE was, personal protective equipment. And so, we think about it like face masks and face shields, or now if you've gone into retail recently, maybe you've seen the big plexiglass things they've got around the cashier stands. Those are all PPE. Do you have enough? As you are thinking about opening back up, do you have enough of these tools to take great care of either your customers or your frontline associates? That's going to be a really important and powerful piece. And then combat that or add that to the need to make sure you have all the equipment and all the chemicals you might need to properly sanitize and keep both your workspaces and your customer-facing spaces up to scratch. So a lot to think about today, but I think this is why we get together every day at 5:30, because what I want to do is tickle your imagination and get you thinking, because we really do have to start ramping up. It is time for the great service comeback, and as I tell you every day, I'm here to help. So make sure you take a moment and go to igniteyourservice.com/comeback, and I am here to help you with whatever you need. We can craft a plan, we can look at your structure and your processes, we can look at your service skills training, and there is a way to connect the most important thing, and that is strategy and your brand to the way that you train and the way that you execute, and it all fits together to drive the most amazing service. So until next time, I'm Tony Johnson, your customer experience leader. Please like, share, subscribe, all those things so that you never miss a video. I will see you tomorrow live at 5:30.